Hello, lost souls. My name is Nyla. I will be your guide through the abyss. Um, you may or may not be able to hear the dryer in the background. I don't know how well the microphone will pick that up, but if you can hear it, sorry, my mom's doing laundry right now. Hopefully downstairs, about to start cooking. They slept in today because they didn't go to work because I'm assuming um, the weather is probably really bad. But anyway, I don't really have a specific message for this video, so I figure we just get on here and we see what the spirits have to say. I did bring out the Shadow Work Yu-Gi-Oh card deck, and I also have brought today the Zodiac Oracle. Um, So we'll be using that to get some clarity, some guidance from spirit as well. And as well, we invite the Mother Hecate into this reading. We invoke her wisdom and guidance as well as the higher self um into this reading as always. So let's shuffle the deck and see what the Shadow Work deck has for us today. A good shuffle in here. Alright. Then we're going to split the deck. Put that front half in behind that back half. And draw 3 cards. And then we will go over the cards. And then we will pull a clarity, either a clarity card or an action card, depending on what the shadow cards have to say for today. Ooh, this is uh, this is quite the interesting selection of cards. And here we have the hidden temples of Necro Valley. The hidden temples. This is a card of ancestry. It invites you to travel to ancient structures and to study history on the ancient practices and the ancient uh, um, monuments and buildings and why they were constructed and how they were constructed. Um, it also goes into um, and past life work, right? Past life work. It goes into to tell you to that you should be getting into your past life into your past lives you know um to discover what damages, what emotional damages or spiritual damages, um what kinds of trauma from past lives have not been healed, have not been taken care of, have been left there to ruminate and to mold, to mold, you know, because past life trauma can really turn into a really um big black mold that is just not healthy for you. I think that's what a lot of past life issues turns into, just this big black mold that is just, causing you all kinds of mental, emotional, physical problems. Um, until it's taken care of, until you call in until you call in the fumigators to get rid of it, or to condemn whatever building, you know, it's in, until it's taken care of fully. It's going to ruminate there, and it's going to cause you a lot of problems. Um, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into the next card, and this card is the Destiny Mirage. Um, and this card is a card of um illusion, self-illusion. Um, it talks about, specifically for me, um, being in the false self, and mirroring it's mirroring other people, definitely mirroring other people. A mirage in the desert. um you know there at certain points when things get really hot, you might look out and think that you see, some water somewhere, and it's just, heat building up on the ground. um and it's tricked you into thinking that it's water. And a lot of people can do that to you as well. They can put a mirage up and pretend to be your friend, to pretend to be there for you. And in reality, they're just using you for what they can get out of you, and then they're going to toss you away. Um, I have some experience with those kinds of people, um, especially in relationships. I have uh, I have had relationships in the past where um, most, well, nearly every one that I was seeing while I was going through my awakened journey promised that they would never leave me, and then next thing I know, they're gone. And, they've told me that they're breaking up with me, that they're, going away. And um and so they created this mirage of security, in saying that they would never leave me, that they would never dream of leaving me, that they were there for me, that they would always be there for me. And a lot of people will do that in order to get whatever they can get from you, and then when they can't get any more from you, they will take what you've given them, and they will run off into the sunset with some other person, right? Or they will set up a trap for some other person to see what they can get out of them before, they've run out of stuff to give them, and then move on to the next person. So, be aware of those mirages, to be aware of those mirages in the desert that lure you into thinking that this is an oasis, when in reality it's just, more sand that looks like water, looks like an oasis. And you'll experience a lot of that in your life, as your awakening journey goes on. And so the last card we have is stumbling. I think we're all stumbling through life, trying to figure things out, right? We're stumbling. You got me tripping, stumbling, falling. You know that song? Yeah. But yeah, we're all just trying to figure it out. Everyone is stumbling over themselves, trying to figure out life, trying to figure out, you know, where they belong and what their purpose is, so don't feel guilty about, stumbling over yourself when you're going through your awakening. Um, because we're all doing it, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to stumble and fall at some point. We're all going to fall back into ego and into the false self at certain points in our awakening and in our journey. And it's not a bad thing. And it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Um, if you can look at your stumbling as just another lesson, another moment for teaching and learning, uh, for teaching you new knowledge about yourself and about the world around you and about other people, then you can master those emotions, those thoughts, and that part of the ego. Um, but stumbling is not definitely, as I said, it's not a bad thing. Stumbling is a lesson for you to learn. I know that in the last video that I put up, I talked about how I had to make that video twice because I unconsciously deleted the video that I had already edited and recorded. And I tried all day to retrieve that video and it just wasn't gonna happen. And I tried to call on Mother Hecate to help me to retrieve it, and I believe that, she wanted me to learn the lesson of dedication, um, in my project, in my current project, this YouTube project that I've got going on. She wanted me to learn to be dedicated. And so after I couldn't retrieve the video, I was just gonna not put out a video. But as soon as that thought came, it left my mind, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to get up and I'm going to record this video over again because the message is important, and I'm not going to let the ego and the false self dissuade me from putting this video out there when I know how important this message is for the people, right? And so my stumbling in that moment led me to understand the lesson of being dedicated to my craft, to being dedicated to the things that I choose to do. Regardless of if I make a mistake, and I stumble over onto myself, by accidentally deleting the video and having to record it all over again, you know and if I have to do that, then that's what I'm gonna have to do, and because that's what dedication is. And that in me stumbling and falling into this ego mind of um you know feeling like I've failed myself, like I've failed you guys, and failed, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Falling into that mindset is not going to be helpful for me. It's not going to be productive for me. It's just going to cause me a lot more issues than what I really need. It's going to keep me in a mindset of I can't do this anymore. I can't do this because I keep messing up, and I'm just going to keep messing up. You know, if I keep myself in that mindset, I will never accomplish anything. And there is always going to be, um, that mindset because my ego will keep me in that mindset. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, I think that's a really good message for today. Spirits really got us going through some deep shadow work here, right? So now that we have the shadow work out of the way, let's pull a an action card for today. Let's pull an action card, action slash clarity card. Spirits, we invite you to give us guidance and clarity on this day. We ask you to guide us for what actions we should take with this shadow work and with this these states of mind. We ask you to tell us how we should work through these problems and give us clarification on these problems as well. Thank you and blessed be. I think I'm going to draw two cards actually, rather than just a normal single card. Because I feel called to do that. I feel called to do two cards. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do two cards. I'll make sure to shuffle this ethically and to make sure we're not, you know, getting false cards and false information. We definitely don't want to fall back into the false self here. Right, so we're going to draw two cards. And let's see the the we'll get the confirmation first, the clarity card out of the way first, and then we'll do the um action card. So today's clarity card is the Scorpio card. So Scorpio. Let's find it in the book and see what it has to say. If I can find it here. There it is. Alright, so Scorpio is a water card, is a water element. Um, and I think that goes back to our previous, our shadow work. You know, go with the flow of things, right? Um, Definitely let your your inner highest self guide you along the natural flow of the the inner the inner energy and and yeah, the energy and the flow, the natural energy and flow of the universe and of this realm and of yourself, of your highest self. Um, you should always be flowing naturally with who you are, uh, and you should never allow yourself to fall into a place where you're not being your most authentic self. Pretending to be something that you're not, or pretending to be somebody that you're not, is never going to be fulfilling for you. So just go with the flow, you know. Let source guide you, you know. And if you're like me, you're a devotee of the Mother Hecate like me. Allow her to be your guiding light, you know. Allow her torch to show you which path along the abyss and along the crossroads that you should take in order to find your most authentic self and to be your most authentic self. But anyway, the key phrase for this card, I create. That's a good one. The mysterious energy of water takes on the fixed quality of intensity to determined to suggest a determined quest to unearth the truth. The key phrase I create plays out as a motivation to create reality based on handpicked truths. In this situation, ask what is the truth behind the facade? Things are not always what they seem. The energy of Scorpio is alluring and powerful, and can be dangerous when pursued for its own sake rather than as a means to a healthy balanced end. Avoid using your powers for evil. And right? So you should definitely be handpicking your truths. You should be deep diving into what we consider to be truth in this reality always. You should always be questioning and always be asking questions about, you know, what we consider to be truth. And at the same time, if you're like me and you practice witchcraft, um, you should be making your own you should be making and designing your own practices. Following other people's practices is a good beginner's yeah, a good beginner if you're new to witchcraft. But after a while, those practices that other people put out um are only going to have so much of an effect on you because they're not personal to you, so they're only going to be so powerful because somebody else designed them and you didn't design them yourself. The most powerful spells are the ones that you're going to create for yourself. um, the most powerful practices are the ones that you are going to create for yourself. The most powerful types of meditation are the ones that you're going to create for yourself. Um, and that's just the truth of it. And you know, if you're new to these types of things, it's definitely good to learn and to try new methods from other people. But once you've gotten it down, once you've learned all you can learn from other people, it's time to start um, creating your own practices and your own journey. It's time to step off the path of other people and onto your authentic path. It's time to choose which sides of the side of the crossroad you're going to go down. Continue following what other people are doing and only get so much and only be so far satisfied, or choose yourself and create your own path and create your own satisfaction, create your own love and guidance and stability and balance. You should always be striving to create what is best for you. You should never ever you know const- continuously be following what other people are telling you that you should do, because it might not work for you. It might not. You know, there are a lot of things in the spiritual community that don't work for me, that are not gonna work for me, because it's not in alignment with my truest self. It's not in alignment with who I am um, inside. It's not in alignment with my highest self. It's not in alignment with um, uh, how and how and where spirit wants me to go and to teach. It's not in alignment with what spirit wants me to teach you guys, or to teach myself, or um to just you know just it's just not for me, period. And it never will be. And that's something that we have to learn when we're going through our spiritual awakening. There are certain types of spirituality um, that are heavily faced in the heavily uh, influenced by the false self and the ego. And in the Matrix, the Matrix has a death grip on some of the spiritual community. Over a lot of them, they're stuck in bits and pieces of societal norms and gender roles and all of this other stuff. And what they're teaching reflects that. And there's this whole thing with red pilling, red pilling, that that women in society hate men, and men in society hate women, and there's just this massive ego battle going on between red pilled men and feminists right now. And it's not as relevant as it used to be, but it's still just this massive ego battle between two different false selves, um, trying to claim that they are they are telling that they have the most truth, that you know, they have the way, the life, and the path, right? And it's all just one big pile of pain body and ego and the false self. It's not none of that stuff is actually true. It's just a lot of people getting caught up in the matrix of social media and getting angry for no reason. They're creating their own problems. They're creating their own problems. They're creating situations in which the uh, the issues that they talk about um, are happening because they have mentally created it for themselves. And you'll see a lot of that in in um, in the social media sphere. Um, and which is why I don't really interact with social media like I used to. I really don't even have a social media account. The only place that I actually interact socially online is actually here on YouTube. And I don't do that a whole lot either. Social media is just, another toxin. Um, but I do have a Discord. Um, but the only people I talk to on there are friends. I don't join communities on Discord. I talk to individual friends. I have complete control over you know who I'm talking to, and I have the ability to block them if I so choose to, or feel that I need to. But yeah, that's the only kind of social media that I use, uh, because social media is a toxin. It's a it is a it is damaging to the mind and to the body, physically, emotionally, um, mentally. It's damaging to your truest self, and to your highest self, and to your higher self. It is very damaging. But yeah, let us get into this action card. Ooh, we brought Taurus up here. That is actually my ascendant. That is my ascendant sign in the zodiac. That's my ascending sign. And Taurus is all about being super stubborn. So some of you out there might be, being a little bit too stubborn about the ways that you go about your spiritual awakening. You might be really closed minded about practice and who you watch and why you watch them, and I believe that spirit is telling us to not be so stubborn about that, to watch people that you don't agree with, to understand their perspective so that you can understand why it is that you don't like what they're doing and what they're presenting um in the spiritual community. But don't get caught up in those people. Don't get caught up in those emotions, study and learn their perspective so that you can go and you can teach why you believe that perspective is not valid or relevant, and people can get your side of the story and they can choose, for themselves what path they really want to take for their truest self and for their highest self, right? For their highest good, and that's an important goal, especially when you're doing shadow work. If you're too stubborn about how you do shadow work, if you're too stubborn about, oh, excuse, if you're too stubborn about which parts of your shadow that you're willing to go into and heal, then you're never going to complete your shadow work. You're never going to be able to fully be yourself. There will always be a fragmented part of yourself that that's out there, because you are too stubborn to actually go and heal that. Whether it be too emotionally draining for you, or you know whether it be a place where a place where your mind just spirals down into sadness. Go and be within that sadness. Go and be within that space. Um, because expressing those emotions and crying can be very cleansing, um, for your soul and for your inner child as well. Allowing yourself to feel the feelings that you couldn't feel when you were in the moment, allowing yourself to be with that moment and to work through the emotions and go through the emotions of that moment is definitely something that is going to be extremely helpful for you when you're doing shadow work. Um, but yeah, let's get into the book, the book's message for this card, right? Let's see what the book has to say about it. If I can find it in here. This is one of those books again that doesn't have the index. All right, the Earth card. Ooh, be grounded. Be grounded in yourself when you're going through shadow work. Make sure that you're not spiraling down into the ego and the false self, experiencing emotions from depression or anxiety. Allow yourself to be grounded, um, when you're doing shadow work with specific parts of your past. Just be grounded, and it really will help you to overcome that that emotion that you're feeling when you go into that deep that deep seated wound that you have hidden deep down that you haven't touched in decades. um, Keeping yourself grounded will help you to work through that. So that's definitely another message that spirit is sending with this Taurus card here. um, I love the design of this card, actually. I love the design of these cards. um, They're actually really, really, they're beautiful and they're insightful. The face on the bull, on the Taurus right there, you know, That's the inner stubbornness right there. The inner parts of us that don't want to do shadow work. The inner ego that wants to force us into our comfort zones and not explore our ego and our false self, and to transcend the ego and the false self through shadow work, through healing the inner child, you know. And the Scorpio card, with the sword, you are a warrior. You have all of the you have all of the power and all of the strength you need inside of yourself in order to overcome these past traumas and these past shadows. um, you are the warrior, and you will always be the warrior. You just have to see it inside of yourself in order to bring it forward, in order to bring that powerful sword from your arsenal, and to use it to battle these inner shadows, um and to help defend and heal the inner child from the ego and the false self that is constantly fighting it, that is constantly being abusive towards the inner child, because the ego definitely is um an abusive and manipulative, emotionally manipulative entity towards the inner child, and it will constantly um, attack the inner child in order to keep you in the false self, in order to keep you from healing yourself fully. So yeah, but let's get into the meaning of this card. Uh, what the book says the meaning of this card is. Right. So the key phrase is "I have." That's a good one. That's another good one. What do you have? You know, what do you have internally that you can use to battle the shadow side, the shadow self, the ego, the false self, right? The stable energy of Earth combines with the fixed, determined quality of advice. Uh, uh, Combines with the fixed, determined quality and advises practical planning. Gather the facts, understand the data, figure out the next step. The key phrase "I have" means that the motivation is centered on resources, and to best on resources, and to best means that the motivation is centered on resources, and to best deploy them. In this situation, ask, what do I have and how can I best invest in it? Make a plan and commit yourself to seeing it through. So yeah, that's the action card for today. Make a plan. Um, Make a plan about how you're going to how you're going to attack the shadow self. To work through the shadow self, and then deploy that plan in a way that you know is going to work for you. And then you can begin to start healing the inner child. You can begin to start showing yourself the love that you've been missing, the love that has left a hole in your heart chakra. you know um the shadow that has left your heart, cracked and fractured and not whole. you know but yeah, that's going to wrap up for today's video for us. I think I know we did a lot of amazing shadow work, inner child work. We did a lot of of really amazing things here in this video. We went through a lot of really good topics. Um, but yeah, if you did like this video, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. Let me know your opinions. Share your stories about the shadow and how you overcame your shadow. Right? Um, give me your stories about how you overcame parts of your inner child, your wounded inner child as well. I would love to read your stories. I'm always I'm always amazed to see the stories that come up in the spiritual community, and how people who are in the worst situations possible were able to overcome those situations by going through an awakening and truly understanding the true self, understanding that we are just that we are divine beings, and that the things that happen to us are not happening to us because um for some to harm us or to hurt us. The things that are happening to us are happening to teach us um who we really are on the inside. They're happening to give us knowledge of our true divine self. So yeah, I hope this video has earned your subscription, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.